Hi guys, we continue our journey in the quarter of duality, and today we enter the gate of aloneness. And aloneness is something really to be looked at as important in the context of duality, because we sometimes forget how important it is to be alone in the connectivity, in the bond. So we are going to have 6 days of the channel of community, the marriage bond, the bargain, the mystical bridge, the emotional ego. This is not just a defined ego, this is an ego that is conditioned by the emotional wave. So gate 40, the gate of aloneness, it's the gate of the willpower, the love of work, the gate of denial, and the gate of the stomach. We talked a lot about this channel and its gates, so I'm not going to dive too deeply into it. Just to remind you that the point of transition between struggle and liberation is exactly the need to be to the very delicate balance between work and rest for all the defined egos. And the 37 is the gate of friendship, the family, the gate of loyalty, a design of cuddling, the need to be touched by God, and the gate of the mouth. And again, we are not going to dive into these 2 gates, we did it. And Pluto is in its retrograde, is going to leave gate 54, the marrying maiden, and go back to the gate of the fighter, opposition, the fuel to preserve individual integrity through opposition to detrimental forces. So all of the people who have in their design gate 28, the gate of the game player in the spleen, will have the honor to have a few months of the channel of struggle in them, a conditioning of the channel of struggle, and all the others, we would feel a lot of glimpse of this channel whenever the moon or other planets will go through the 28th gate. So let's look forward for our fight against detrimental forces. And the moon is again going to jump into some interesting gates. So we are going to have on the 30, we're going to have the channel of logic for 10 hours. And then the moon will jump into the abyss of the gate of saying yes and form the channel of discovery. And we will have the willpower to say yes. And then the gate of oppression, we can't get rid of this gate. So the gate of oppression will form the channel of the abstract, and we will have a lot of realizations about our emotional bargains. And again, what's going to happen here? Jupiter is going to leave the gate of friction, the gate of conflict, gate 6 in the solar plexus, and move into the love of the body, the determination of the self, gate 46. And he will, when he does that, he meets their beautiful Venus and even more beautiful Mercury. And they will discuss the love of the body, and they will be very determined in this. And Venus, after Jupiter comes and they greet each other, she leaves the gate of love of the body and moves into the gate of correction, work on what has been spoiled by the mother or the father, gate 18, my favorite gate. The gate that is the most bitchy gate in the whole body graph. And Venus has a lot, she sees a lot what needs to be corrected. And if you want to see, if you look at the gates that I marked in green, all these gates belong to the quarter of duality. They have something to do with relationship, and all of them, when Venus enters, they are in detriment. So she will have a lot to correct and a lot to bitch about. And when there's so much to be corrected, then we want to prove and improve ourselves, and we think that we need the willpower for that. So all the open egos that really want to prove and improve, and all the defined egos that don't know what to do with this energy and also want to prove and improve, they need guide, or they think they need guide. Their not self needs guide, and we have a guide here. And to look at his ego, I couldn't resist. I mean, it's true that it's at the 40th gate, it's not in the sun, it's in the earth and in one of his Plutos. But Tony Robbins is such an example for this huge ego and all other huge stuff that is pumping all the people that come to listen to him and try to motivate them in becoming what they are not. And he's very, very strong and good at what he does. So this is, first of all, look at this. I mean, four emotional channels, and this is unbelievable. And in single definition, it all goes to the throat, to the one gate in the throat that's in its cross, and this is the gate of progress, the gate of change. And he's very, very powerful. I mean, you know, you don't need to listen to him, but if you did, you know that these four emotional motors are coming through his throat, and he can really move mountains. And I think that part of it, he moves mountains, but also with the combination of his not self, because what pushes him to move mountains is the transference of his motivation, because he's a second color motivation and 3 arrows to the right, and he behaves exactly the opposite, and he all the time wants to correct and to find what's not working and correct it. His 18th gate is open and he's got the 58 looking at it. So this is really, really interesting. Yes, he's got the 58 in his Saturn in the line of electricity. I mean, he has this inner fuel, inner electricity, and of course, gate 18 is empty there in an open spleen. Very interesting. It's interesting that he talks in his keynotes, of course, he wants to find breakthrough strategies and solutions for overcoming the problems that confront us all. And it's interesting because what I've noticed, and I'm not going to get deep into it, I invite you to explore, if you like exploring. His return charts are amazing, and especially Uranus opposition, unbelievable. But what's beautiful to see here is that he has this line of irresponsibility in the 4th gate, in an open, completely open head, and the open ajna with the breakthrough in his Mercury, and the irresponsible formulas that he brings from his open head and ajna to people in order to get to break through and go through their crisis and become better. And of course, he seduces everyone with his Pluto in the 59.5, and it's really unbelievable. And of course, he follows his convictions. Not all these convictions come from response, I think. Part of them come from the need to overcome this open spleen. And look at that. I didn't even know that he's doing this fire walk in his workshops. And it's interesting what he says, that the fire walk is intended to help people conquer their fears by walking across hot coals. It takes place during the turn fear into power portion of the event. Amazing. And he says, walking over those hot coals is a symbolic experience that proves that if you can make it through the fire, you can make it through anything. Now look at this. He is supporting this woman in the picture, and you think about his huge ego and his very, very powerful design, in her aura with this channel of intimacy that breaks every barrier. And of course, it's also a Wa channel, so it breaks barriers in everyone. And all these people, when they are in his aura, they have his willpower. They feel that they can do it. But it has nothing to do with their design. And if we look at him, at his open spleen, what he's trying is overcome his fears with this stupid thing of walking on fire, which will not change anything and will not help anything. I mean, that's his design. He's very powerful. And what he's doing is just living in his open spleen. Unbelievable. I mean, oh my God, this is so amazing to look. So I invite you to remember that you are exactly beautiful the way you are, with an open ego or with a defined ego, and be very careful about your use with this center. It doesn't matter, again, if it's defined or not, because this center is dealing with four very, very crucial organs of the human body. We're talking about the heart, gate 21. We are talking about the stomach, gate 40. We are talking about the gallbladder, which is the 51st gate, and we're talking about the T cells in the 26th gate. So this is very, very fragile and delicate organ in our body and center in our body, and we need to respect it. The defined egos need to respect the balance between work and rest, and also give respect to this energy. Don't throw it away. Don't commit to things that you weren't invited or responded or felt from your authority that you need to do, because then we will do it anyway, and it will affect us, health matters and others. And the open egos need to respect the fact that willpower is not something consistent in their design. And when you respond, or when you're invited, or when you initiate from your inner authority something, then you will have exactly the willpower that you need, if you need, because willpower is just part of the body. We have 9 centers. This is only one. It's the not self, the homogenized, global, not self-made, this willpower as a god to be worshipped, but this is just one attribute among others, among a lot of attributes that we have in our energetic body graph and in our lives. So we don't need willpower when it's not in our design. And when something comes to us according to strategy and authority, then that's it. And one more little thing for the open egos, I invite you to start looking differently at defined egos, because the ego got its bad name not because of the defined ego, but because of the conditioned open egos. Now we have this energy, I say we, defined ego, we have this energy. It's not something that we want, it's not something we develop, it's not something that we control. We were born with this, and it's pumping in our body. And it's not that we are doing anything in order to compete or to show that we're the best. It's not, it's our body. And when an open ego gets into a defined ego's aura, there is effect. And it's not something that the ego does. So please also respect us as we are, because this is a real confrontation. I can see that everywhere, the competition you know, especially when I feel it a lot. I have 2 channels in the ego, and when people are compromised to me, this is very difficult. And I don't do anything. I mean, you know, I'm just living with this energy. So, and I know this to be true for people who are defined, and we talk about it. So for the open ego, please respect our energy, it's not against anybody, and it's not personal. We were born with it. And for us, for the defined ego, I invite us, all of us, to respect the open egos and don't put our energy in them in a violent way, and don't demand them to be as we are, because we can't. Everybody is unique. Everyone is unique. The science of differentiation. So respect is the word that we should remember. Respect our design, and then from this respect can grow respect to other people's design. And of course, what we have in order to continue breathing and pumping this heart of ours in a healthy way, we have the strategy to protect us. We have our inner authority, or our decision-making process, to navigate us in this plane, in this material plane of the ego. And of course, we sleep alone. Remember the gate of aloneness. We need to sleep alone. We need to preserve our individuality, our uniqueness, our differentiation inside the bond. Otherwise, the bond wouldn't flourish, and we will just be frustrated, bitter, angry, and disappointed. So that's it for today, and have a lovely ego week and emotional stuff and good bargains. Bye-bye.